How strong is Russia's economy amid the war? Many believed that sanctions would crush the country in just a few weeks. But did that really happen? Today we're going to break down the economic weight of the war, the sectors still keeping Russia alive, and even what might happen if the country comes out as the winner. War context. The war began in February 2022 and has now lasted for more than 2.5 years. For comparison, World War II, involving dozens of countries, lasted 6 years. Back then, most analysts thought Moscow would win within weeks, but as Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, there's no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare, and that's exactly what we see today. The longer the conflict drags on, the greater the economic and military cost. Costs and losses. Russia has already spent more than $100 billion per year on military expenses. This includes ammunition, tanks, drones, and logistics. Beyond the money, the country has lost thousands of soldiers and experienced officers, weakening its command structure and combat strength. These are losses that cannot be easily replaced. Even in the case of victory, economy and trade, oil and gas. So how does Russia keep funding the war? The secret lies in oil and natural gas. These resources are vital to the global economy, and even under sanctions, Moscow found new buyers: China, India, and Turkey. And there's more. Gas sold to Europe became much more expensive. When Moscow cut supplies, prices skyrocketed. So even selling less volume, Russia earned more in revenue in a short term. Oil and gas turned into both a political weapon and a cash machine. Other exports. Beyond energy, Russia remains a giant in wheat and fertilizers, essential for global agriculture, metals and minerals such as nickel, aluminum, and palladium. These ensure a steady flow of foreign currency, even under sanctions, labor shortage, but internally, the war created a serious problem. A shortage of workers, hundreds of thousands went to the front, while many young men left the country to avoid recruitment. There are even reports that Russia sought North Korean laborers to fill the gaps. It's a clear sign that the domestic economy is under pressure. Sanctions. So, did sanctions work? Yes and no. They limited Russia's access to advanced technology, foreign investment, and the global financial system. But they didn't collapse the economy. Russia adapted by creating parallel trade routes and tightening ties with China, India, and Iran. And most importantly, Moscow increased its use of the yuan as an alternative to the dollar, aligning with the BRICS strategy of building a second global currency. In practice, Moscow didn't fall, but it became more dependent on Beijing and far more isolated from the West. What if Russia wins? But what if Russia actually wins the war? Ukraine today is deeply destroyed. Cities in ruins, industries shut down, and farmland filled with mines. Rebuilding could cost hundreds of billions of dollars and take decades. So even a military victory would come with a huge price, occupying and maintaining devastated, unproductive, and hostile territories. Military power? Is Russia still a military power? Yes, mainly because of its nuclear arsenal, one of the largest in the world. But in conventional terms, the war has exposed major weaknesses, with fewer soldiers, less modern equipment, and the loss of experienced officers. Moscow relies increasingly on nuclear threats to impose itself. If another conflict opened up beyond Ukraine, Russia would likely struggle to fight on two fronts. And the longer the war continues, the weaker both its economy and military become. Whether it wins, negotiates peace, or faces partial defeat, Russia will not return to competing on the same level as the United States or China. Russia's economy is still standing thanks to oil, gas, and key exports. But this foundation has an expiration date. Every day of war drains human, military, and financial resources that will not come back. Russia survives, but it doesn't advance. It shows strength, but at a growing cost. And while resisting the West, it becomes ever more tied to the East. In the end, this war will not only decide Ukraine's future, it will define Russia's place in the world for decades to come. Will it be remembered as a power that resisted against all odds, or as a power that began to crumble under the weight of its own ambition?